Hi everybody, it's Audrey and I'm here for a special tutorial about box joints because that's a new template that we just launched in Studio, and it's special because Sean is here to help us out, especially to demo what the side on Origin looks like. So first of all, Sean, help me understand, what is a box joint?
Well, box joints are super easy to create on Origin, and they're perfect for cabinets and little boxes. They make a lot of glue surface, so when you put them together, it's a very strong joint, much stronger than, say, a rabbet or a miter joint. And with Origin, you can kind of put them in and cut them really quickly. It also helps align things really well when you're gluing them up 90 degrees to each other, due to the nature of the joints. And there's a lot of different variants on how you can make it look. And today, we're going to go over a couple. A very simple version called Box Joint Basic, which if you have Origin already, you may have already used, and then a new one, new template in Studio.
Called Box Joint Pro, so I'm really excited about that one.
Yeah, so we'll jump into those soon, but let's show you the basics now.
All right, so let's just take a look at the templates in Studio now. I'm going to say make shape, and I'm going to place a box joint basic. And now I can see sort of like a bunch of rectangles and then another shape, and it's maybe a little bit confusing. Like, what am I looking at right now? What's going to get cut? What's not going to get cut? So Sean, why don't you show us on the camera?
So this is essentially that file already cut. And what you can see is we're removing the space between these three pins, these little two areas here. So if we go back to Studio, you'll see the three A pins, which are labeled. Those are just kind of guides. And then that big kind of area in the middle is what's going to be cut.
Yeah, so if I go over to plan mode, we can see this in a different way too. We can see, okay, yeah, these are blue, so they're guides. They're just sort of letting us know where things are. And this is the part that's going to get cut. And the key part is you cut it on edge.
Yeah, so we're going to put this in Workstation, and we'll be milling from the top down to cut, because we need a perfect 90-degree channel at the bottom.
Cool. Yeah. And then when you're ready to cut the other side that sort of mates with this, you would switch to side B. And you can see the cut channel switches to being all the sort of opposite sides of that. So that's how box joints work.
Yep, and then there's even a little toggle on the bottom for if you want to show the guides or not. So if you get confused, you can always turn those off and get back to only the cut pass.
Yeah.
So we're gonna cut this piece here. I've already put one in. Let's just measure it real quick. So we are basically 2.71 inches wide. And we would be 3.34 inches thick.
4 inches thick. Great. So already that's a much smaller piece than our default. So if you're in this boat, just hit that zoom to selection button and we'll get back so that we can be looking at this real close up. And how many pins do we want to put in this nice joint?
Let's say try 5. Let's keep it a little simple.
Let's try 5. Now, of course, you could keep going, but at some point you might hit the maximum number of pins.
Yeah.
So here you can see, because the template lets you say what your intended bit diameter is going to be, it's going to do some validation here and try to make sure you don't accidentally make something that's uncuttable. We're almost ready to cut this, and there's one crucial thing that I want to do before I send this to you, which is turn on that Origin anchor.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
So when I toggled that on, a little red triangle showed up, and that just means that when you import it on Tool, well, you already know this, but it'll be positionable. I'm going to put this back down to, you said, 5 pins? Yep. Great. All right.
Love it. Okay. If we come over to Origin screen, I have a stock placed in the workstation, and I put a top left corner to match the anchor point that Audrey created on that file. And if we go to import, that file is automatically synced over, and I'll just load it. And you'll notice here, I can kind of drag it around, and if I zoom in, that same point that we had the little red triangle on, I just need to drag that over to 0, 0, and you can see it lines up pretty well with my image here, which is great. That means we're in the right territory. Okay, now, if I go to cut mode, you can see here my path where I'm going to travel, and I need to go ahead and set my depth. Now, I know the thickness was... What did we type in, Audrey?
Oh, we typed in 0.34.
Okay, so I'm going to go a little bit deeper than 0.34. I'm going to do 0.35, and I'm just going to add a little bit more than what we have. We want those pins to to be a little bit deeper than the depth we want. So 0.35 should give us just enough to kind of clean up after it's cut. And you'll notice here when I go to the preview, I'm gonna miss a little bit of the box joint, so I'm just gonna go ahead and change that on tool to a pocket, clear that area out, and then we'll come back. Now in this case, because I'm cutting in grain, I'm gonna go a little deeper than my bit diameter, but we'll be okay in this case. Cutting in grain's a little bit easier than cutting face grain, so I'm just gonna go ahead and cut the pocket, and then I'll go back and cut the inside after that. All right, and first cut is done. Bring it over here so you can see what we got. Looks good. There's our 3 pins, okay? Nice. And now, if we were gonna do this in the box, we were referencing this side, we would flip the material that way to reference it again, cut the same thing on this side. Every piece is gonna be cut top and bottom with the same joint. But let's just assume I cut that. So now we've cut that first one, time to cut the other side. We're gonna go back to Studio and pick the other side first.
Yeah, so I'll just click on my template and I'll just say side B.
Great. I'm gonna come back to Origin. I'm gonna delete that old shape. So the A side now gets deleted. And I'm gonna erase my cut history at the same time. And we'll import that new side. And do the same thing, move it to 0, 0. And now you can see we have the other file. So same thing, I'm gonna pocket it, cut that out.
Great.
We'll do a quick test fit and make sure we're good. If we have to adjust offsets, we could always come back. But that looks like a pretty good fit, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull it out. So there's our joint. We can put it together. Nice fit. I like a fit where you can put it together and it won't fall out. That's a perfect fit, but you don't have to hammer it in every time. So there's our basic box joint.
The other thing to note is box joint basic just means the pins are evenly sized.
Yes.
And then box joint pro is all the same stuff, but you can actually make the pins unevenly sized. So let's take a look at that. I'm going to place a box joint pro. And now what we can do is we can adjust this pin factor number, and that'll make the pins larger or smaller. And actually, if we do 0, it's sort of like an evenly sized box joint.
So here's one I did a while ago, and I'm going to just put it together. And then you can kind of see it in the side camera. So this is kind of what we're talking about here. And they almost look like dovetails. From one side they do, and then they almost look exactly like it. And then the other side, obviously, it's a little bit different. But really nice, easy to put together. And we'll quickly show you how to do it in Studio.
Yeah, and actually this time we'll go over a slightly more pro move, which is round tripping.
Yes, we will do that now. So, okay, so we're going to start. I'm going to take the same pieces that we were working with earlier and put them back in here. Let's do a new scan. I'm going to remove this little bar so we can get behind it. And I'm going to go to Create, Probe Rectangle, lower that probing bit down. And I will just make sure my bit size is correct, which it is. And I'll click once, twice, and then I'm going to go essentially all the way around this and define the center point of that probed rectangle. Okay, now that we have it probed, I can hit the export button and I will send that over to Audrey. Boom. Okay, so Audrey's going to get a version of this in Studio that we can design this around.
Okay, awesome. So I'm just going to go to Studio. I'm going to click here and I'm going to say Open Recent. And we've got this origin export right there. Nice. So now we've got the rectangle that Sean probed. So basically this is exactly my stock. Now you could measure the stock, but this is just another fun way to do it. And maybe if you are worried about lining things up, this might be a slightly more accurate way. So now what we can do is we can place our irregular box joint or our box joint pro, and I can line it up with the rectangle, and I can just scale it and snap at least the width. The height is a little bit harder because the cut channel goes past, but it actually doesn't really matter how accurate it is.
Nice.
Just because it does go past. Like we're going to cut through the whole thing, so it doesn't need to be bang on. And we are already pretty much ready to go now. So do you want to do the same number of
Yeah, let's
pins?
do the same number, and then why don't you adjust the pins down to like their max?
All right. Do you want bigger pins on the outside or?
Yeah, let's do that one.
Okay, bigger pins on the outside. Great. Cool. Okay, that's all I have to do. I can also take your probe geometry and just set it to a reference so it doesn't come back over.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to go back into here. I'm going to change that old file into a guide so I don't have a cuttable shape there. Then I'll hit import, find the same file, and put it right on top of where it went. So everything's at 0, 0 here. And that's it. Now we just cut this one channel. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Swap the bit back to the cutting bit instead of the probing bit. Okay, and then since this, you can see we can clear this whole area out. I'm not even going to use the pocketing. I'm just going to cut it to the right size. So I'll go ahead and cut that now.
Great.
Okay, there's our first cut.
Nice.
And I'll go ahead and put the second one in.
All right, and as you're setting up that second piece of material, I'll just quickly in Studio swap the side to B. And that is all I need to do.
Okay, so same thing. I'm going to delete this shape, erase the cut history, and then import that same element. And now we're going to have the opposite side. Go back to my 0, 0 point. And in this case, we do need to pocket out. So I'm going to change from inside to a pocket. Pocket that, cut it inside, and see what our fit looks like. Do a little test fit here. Oh yeah, things look very nice. So let's take that out. Let's see how it looks on camera. So there's the two pieces here.
Exciting.
And we can put those together. Boom. Very nice. So you can see the difference between how it's going to look. These are the box joint pro, and then these are the box joint basic.
Awesome. All right, so that was an intro to box joints in Studio now. Thanks so much, Sean, for showing us how to actually cut those out with Origin.
And thank you for putting it in Studio and bringing us the first of many joinery templates on Studio. If people had some requests, where would they put them, Audrey?
Yeah. So if there's other joints that you're wanting to make in Studio and that you'd like to be able to customize, just go over here to the shape menu. You can click this Want More Shapes and then actually make a request. Just type in what you want, submit it, and I'll see that, and then we can start working on it.
Nice. And if you happen to build something with one of these templates, we'd love to see what you made. We're always interested to see how these creations turn out in the real world. So please go to the community page, post a thread, what you liked, disliked, and hopefully we will see you soon with some other ones.
Bye.
Bye.